Hi, this is Sarah.
And this is Rachel.
And this is The Diaries, a podcast where we rip apart, episode by episode, the Vampire Diaries. Warning, this is a rewatch podcast, so we always bring up spoilers. If you don't know this episode, it's the ghost episode, which means there's so many things to spoil and bring up and reference to. And that's this episode.
Yeah, from previous episodes in the future. Yeah, so much. Yeah, the plot is so tight on season 3. I feel like there's no way we don't talk about other episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sarah said, this week we're talking about season 3, episode 7, Ghost World.
Yeah.
Obviously, as we saw in the last episode, all the ghosts are back.
Yep.
And that's pretty much where we pick up at the very top of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
We see Damon is tied up to a chair, the fireplace poker thing is in his chest. His daylight ring is on the floor, and we see over by the windows, Mason is watching him, but Damon obviously can't see him. So he thinks it's Stefan. He's like, low, Stefan.
Yeah.
And Stefan appears and is like, what's going on?
Yeah, what you doing, buddy?
Yeah, what is this? And Damon tells him to leave him out of whatever Ripper game he's playing. Again, still thinking it's Stefan. But Stefan is like, no, really, this isn't me doing this. And Damon still kind of doesn't believe him at first, but then Stefan pulls out the poker and he unchains one of Damon's wrists.
Yeah.
Because his chest and 2 wrists are chained up. And then he just leaves the rest of them. And so Damon is still kind of tied to the chair. And then Mason flings open the curtains so the sunlight starts to burn Damon.
Yeah. I don't know how Damon didn't get earlier in this scenario who was doing this.
I know.
Because it's such obvious homage. It's
of course.
So reminiscent of exactly what Damon did to Mason that it's funny that he didn't immediately remember. But of course after this he's
pretty sure, yeah.
We'll check back in on that later, of course. But we have to go to the town square where it is another event.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
I know.
I mean, we had some barbecues and stuff in 4.
That was so D-plot.
Yeah. We went 2 episodes without, I guess the last one was a bonfire too. So just kidding. There's always an event.
Some of them are more low-key though. This is a town event.
This is a proper town event, which we haven't had a proper town event in a while. This time is, of course, called the Night of Illumination. We see in the town square people are hanging up lanterns all over the place. There's clearly a stage set up for kind of an event space. Clearly this is a thing, a Mystic Falls thing.
Yeah.
Carol is giving a speech to the crowd. Half of Carol's dialogue is speeches, first of all, which I think is funny. I was she just gives random speeches about the history of the town and how they lit their lantern. I was girl's just talking.
Yeah,
just
truly.
Something to say.
Yeah, I didn't even catch a word of what she said. I was
it was they
just
were
a
burning
speech.
Lanterns to say things were safe. I don't know. I was it doesn't. Because at first I was ooh, maybe this will play into the theory of the episode and be some larger point. And no, it doesn't. It doesn't. They just burned lanterns, and so they do it in honor. I don't know.
Sure.
But anyway, she does introduce a founding family member, Tobias Fell, who comes up to talk about the history of this event. And in the crowd, we see Jeremy and Alaric, who says he had to be there because Tobias Fell is the head of the history department, so he's being forced to be there. And Jeremy is, by extension, being forced to be there because Alaric can give him a F in history.
Yeah.
So they're all forced to be there. Elena arrives in another tan jacket, which I was this is not the same tan jacket that we talked about before. This is where maybe people are getting confused because this one's definitely it has long sleeves, first of all, which she does bunch up at some points.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have the same buckling. It's not as rouged in the center part. It's more structured. So I'm different jacket, but it is tan. She loves it.
She knows what she likes.
She does, and she just goes and buys the same thing over and over again.
Same.
I don't blame her for it.
You've seen all my black shirts. I mean, same.
Yeah, when you find something you like, you just do it. But yeah, it made me laugh. I was so funny. Elena in another tan jacket. But anyway, she asks what she missed, and Jeremy tells her nothing. Anna is providing side commentary for Jeremy about the historical lies and how it's all about the vampires.
Yeah.
Jeremy is down so bad.
I had the same thought.
He's laughing hysterically at everything Anna's saying, and it's not funny.
It's not funny.
She's just from the vampires, and he's laughing away.
No.
It's Jeremy, that wasn't funny.
Shut up. Yeah.
She just sort of. It's the kind of thing you'd smirk at if your friend said, where you'd be
yeah, you'd be
yes, we know. Yeah, but he's like dying laughing. I was like, he's down so bad. That's so obvious.
I know.
And again, so obvious. Elena literally notices that he's laughing and asks, what's so funny?
Because he's laughing at nothing, because she obviously can't hear
the speech
Anna.
is not funny at all either.
Yeah.
So she's just like, what? And he doesn't answer her. He just ignores her. But he does hold Anna's hand, which is crazy. Like we said in the last episode, if you didn't watch, we were like, obviously, this is cheating. Lines have crossed. Cheating. It is cheating. This is awful. I can't believe he's doing this to Bonnie. And the fact that he's doing this to Bonnie in the open, but it's a secret because Anna's not visible, is so messed up. Like, it's almost worse.
It is worse. Oh, yeah, no. No, it's so bad.
Yeah, it's so bad.
I hate Jeremy.
But... yeah, I don't know, whatever. But thank goodness we do get a shot of Jeremy holding Anna's hand where we don't see Anna. So you just see him like holding his arm out to the side at like a weird angle. Where it's like he's holding someone's hand, but we can't see them. I was like, that kind of pays it off because it's ridiculous. It's like funny in a way to be like, yeah, Jeremy looks dumb.
Yeah.
Because he is dumb.
Yeah, he is an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, kind of like preparing for this Night of Illumination or whatever, we see Caroline helping Bonnie, and they're hanging lanterns in the tree. And Caroline asks Bonnie if the spell to send Vicky away worked on Anna. And Bonnie tells her, like, no, it wouldn't work on Anna. Jeremy has a direct line to her, so he can see Anna whenever he wants. Unfortunately true.
Yep.
And Caroline is like, I love this. She's like, okay, you don't think I can actually resist commenting on that, right? Like,
yeah, I loved that.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, love Caroline. Yeah. And Bonnie is not. She does not love it.
Like,
she's not having it. Yeah. She was like, that's your comment. We're done talking about this, basically. And Bonnie goes on to say, like, I went against the balance of nature when I brought Jeremy back, so now I'm paying the consequences. Like, Jeremy cheating on her apparently being the consequence.
I know. I was like, this is crazy.
It's like, girl, you deserve better.
Yeah, it should have been some random evil ghost or something. Not just Jeremy cheating.
Yeah. And Caroline says she just wants Bonnie to admit that she's not okay with it. And Bonnie is like, well, I'm 1,000 times not okay with it, of course, but I don't really know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And right as they're having this conversation, Damon pulls up in his car.
Yeah.
Been a minute since we've seen his little blue car.
And this is such a classic
It looks
shot.
so good.
They use this all the time in like the Previously Ons. Like specifically in season 4, it becomes the new Previously On where they're like, this is my town and mine and mine. And it's Damon pulling up in his car. It's the classic Damon shot. I love it. No,
it looks so good. Yeah, so he pulls up beside them in his car. And he tells them that Mason's ghost just spit roasted him. Like, what? What makes you think so? And Damon tells them that he like was chained him to a chair and shoved a hot poker in him. And let's just say I'm having deja vu. Yeah. Obviously, the homage. And Caroline says to Bonnie that, you know, I thought ghosts couldn't interact with the physical world. And Bonnie's like, they can't.
Yeah.
And Damon just tells him, like, you know, I don't have time for this. You fix it. And he like speeds away.
He's like, your problem now, Bonnie.
Yeah, go fix it. And then we see as he pulls away, Matt is across the street, like kind of looking at them and probably overheard the conversation.
Yeah, realizing something's going on as always. Something's always going on.
Yeah, if Damon's speeding up and coming along in his car, something's wrong.
Yeah, as usual, something's going down. But we cut to maybe a more normal setting outside the Mystic Grill. Of course, it's still summer. It's still nice outside. We're sitting outside the grill. I love how much of this is like outside shots. Like almost all of this has been outside so far, which I think is a nice way to break it up from the last 6 episodes. Yeah. It makes this one feel distinct that so much of it is outside.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jeremy, Elena, and Alaric are outside the grill. They're sitting at one of the tables. Elena has Stefan's journals out, and she asks Jeremy for help. She says she needs his help. And she tells him that she's been going through Stefan's old journals and noticed that like every time he went off the rails, the thing that finally brought him back was always Lexi, Stefan's best friend, of course. And Elena wants Jeremy to try to reach out to Lexi on the other side because of course we know she's dead, and you know, see if there's like something she can do to provide like some info about how to help with Stefan. And so they talk about the other side a little bit and how it isn't clear, like, who's there or who isn't, who Jeremy can find. Like, all of it is so open-ended right now. Yeah. And it's like being in our world, but nobody can see or hear you. That's, like, the thing they keep saying. And Jeremy's reiterating that to fill in Elena and Alaric. That you can't interact with anybody, that you're all alone. That's, like, what the other side is all about. You're all alone. So, of course, Anna appears in the empty seat sitting with them next to Jeremy. And Alaric points out, well, Vicky interacted with the world. She literally blew up my car. Last episode. But Jeremy says that Vicky was getting help from a witch and Anna is all alone. It feels very like, well, Anna's not like the other girls.
It is. No, it's so like that. Yeah.
Anna's safe. Anna's good.
Yeah.
But Alaric cautions Jeremy. He's like, let's not trust some dead people right now based on like what has already happened.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he has good reason to think that. And obviously Jeremy should listen more because Jeremy knows Anna can interact with him. They've held hands. So like,
yeah, that's
clearly
true.
Anna has like a foothold, which isn't because of Anna's fault, but is like definitely reason to be suspicious.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, why isn't he like, something's wrong? Or like,
no, he's in love. He's
like, I love so blind
her.
To everything.
Which again, like we've said in previous episodes, I just feel so bad because obviously like he loved her and she died. It's so mixed up. Like this is such a messed up situation on all accounts. Like I think a lot of us would have a hard time being in Jeremy's situation.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
What do you do in that situation, obviously? So, I don't know. It's mixed up. We'll obviously get way worse and way more of that in this episode.
Yes.
But of course, we've got to go check back in on the Matt stuff.
Yeah, Matt he's come over, he's crossed the street, he's talking with Caroline and Bonnie, and he's swearing to them that he sent Vicky back because they're saying they think she could be the one to mess with Damon because she could have like just as much reason to want to hurt Damon as Mason would.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Damon has a lot of people on the other side.
Sure, they're like, it could be anybody.
If Mason didn't use his like calling card of using the same torture style, this could be anyone.
Yeah, it could be.
But anyway, Matt is like, no, like she's gone. I sent her away. And Bonnie's like, well, that's not good because if it is Mason, then something has gone really, really wrong.
Yeah.
Matt is like, leave me out of it. And leaves.
And that's the last we see of him all episode. He's like, I've had enough ghosts for a lifetime. Peace.
Yeah. They take his word. They're like, yeah, okay,
which
bye.
I respect. I mean, that's so heavy to have dealt with your sister like that in the last episode to be like, I have to send my sister away crying, saying she's alone.
Yes. Exactly.
I don't want to deal with this anymore.
No.
It's fair.
It's so fair.
But it is funny.
It is funny that he just leaves and we don't see him again for the whole episode. But, I mean, yeah, like to what you were saying, Caroline even says, like, after he walks away, that she feels bad about Matt sending Vicky away and how it must have taken a lot of strength, like strength of a man. Obviously implying to Bonnie, Jeremy sucks and has no strength.
Yeah.
But Bonnie's like, not now.
Yeah.
She's
right.
Says,
save the Jeremy lecture.
Yeah, but she's like, save it. Bonnie's got bigger things to go doing.
Yeah.
So Bonnie's going to go deal with all this, try to figure it out. But she grabs her like bag that's on the ground. And when she pulls it, the strap of her bag comes off and her bag opens. And she has her huge grimoire with it. She's going to have permanent back problems. Yeah. And she goes to pick up the grimoire, but it flies open to like a page, which Bonnie reads and says to Caroline, it's a manifestation spell to reveal veiled matter. Caroline, of course, asks, like, what's veiled matter? And Bonnie's just like, ghosts. Which I had the thought, I was like, was it Grams who, like, did that? And,
I think it
flipped
was.
The page?
Yeah, I do think it was.
I love her.
Grams is helping. She's the classic grandma helping from the other side.
I love her.
Watching her girl.
Yeah.
I know, I do love Grams. I'm so excited for all the ghosts in this episode because they're all, like, the best characters. They picked the best characters, except for Jenna. I wish Jenna came back, too. But they picked all the best other than that. So
I know.
I really liked it. But anyway, of course, we've got a little bit to go before we get there. We go back outside the Mystic Girl where Jeremy is saying, like, he doesn't know if it's possible to contact Lexi because he never met her. He doesn't have any emotional connection to Lexi at all. And Alaric's like, can we just drop it? Can we just not talk about this? He wants nothing to do with this. But Elena says, like, she can't drop it. Like, and Alaric is like, there are too many dead vampires in our past to like, be thinking about them watching over us and like talking about them coming back. Like, this is not a door we want to open up, which she's right, as we will see.
Yes.
But of course, Anna tells Jeremy that she thinks some supernatural spirits like aren't on the other side, that maybe they're not there, that they just went and found peace, which has always been the justification Julie Plec has given for
Jenna not coming back.
Saying Jenna's not come back because Jenna died pure. She never killed anyone. She never hurt anybody. She died immediately as a vampire and went to peace. What I think about that, I don't know. We could get into that in like a special or something, probably.
Yeah, did Jenna find peace?
The whole special.
I have a lot to say about that.
There's a special to be said about peace and about the other side and how all of that stuff works
true.
at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting that Jenna doesn't come back. But anyway, so Anna's like opening up this idea of peace, and maybe there isn't people just alone and miserable on the other side, that maybe there's some other thing to find.
True.
But she also just doesn't really know. And Jeremy, very unsubtly, is like, turns and is looking at her while she's talking.
He's an idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot. It's so obvious. Both Elena and Alaric are like, huh? And Elena obviously is like, is Anna here right now? Are you talking to Anna? Yeah, and Anna's like, don't tell her. She won't like it. Like, lie.
Girl, because you know what you're doing is wrong.
You know, this is what I was saying like a few episodes ago when he had to close the door and run the water while talking to Anna. It's like, anytime you have to lie, you have to hide that you're talking to someone, you know you're doing something wrong. Obviously.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, and Anna is so shady in the first place for suggesting to Jeremy that he should lie about it. Like, especially when it's so obvious he's interacting with her. Everyone at that table was like, obviously he's talking to somebody who's not here. But anyway, so Jeremy just gets up and leaves. He doesn't even really answer. He's just like, bye. I gotta go. Because obviously he needs to talk to Anna in private. He can't do this in front of everybody. So Stefan takes his place. And he sees like the journals on the table. And he says that he forgot how much he used to care. Elena's like, I didn't. So dramatic. Elena's always like, I will support you forever, Stefan.
I know. I'm getting a little over it. I'm like,
I know. It's so hard because it's like she's so good for that. Like, obviously it's so core to Elena, it's so core to their relationship to be like, I will fight for you.
Yes.
But it is so heavy-handed where it's just like, man, he's giving you nothing. Like, this is really hard to just keep going off of. But anyway, Stefan basically says like that. He's like, it's best not to torture yourself with memories of the past, and you need to move on and accept things how they are now. And Alaric is like, you don't have to be here, Stefan. Like, he is in his sass era. This era, like, right before he becomes a hunter, he's not there yet, but he's just about to be. He's just, like, agitated.
Yeah, he's so done with all of the vampires.
Oh, so beyond done. Yeah. He's so over it. But obviously, he still has to watch over Elena and Jeremy, so he's just inherently involved. Yeah. But yeah, so he's in his sass era, which of course Stefan is like, I'm looking out for Elena. Like, I have to be here to protect people.
Of course.
And also there's going to be so many people out tonight, which means there's going to be a lot to eat. Which Elena obviously is disgusted and is so insulted he would even say that. And he laughs and is like, I'm kidding. Like, loosen up. Yes, stop. It's just a joke. It's definitely not a joke. No. But that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
So he gets up to leave, and Elena looks to Alaric and says, I can't drop it, Rick.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, clearly, like, obviously this is just getting under Elena's skin, and she has to. It's like Matt kind of said in season 1 about Elena, how she, like, if she doesn't know something, if there's something she has to, like, kind of, like, do or learn, she's, like, relentless. Like, we say it all the time. Elena is relentless.
She is relentless. Yeah. A little too relentless, but yeah. Yeah. Bonnie and Caroline, they have the manifestation spell. They've gone to the witch house and go in to, do the spell because Bonnie says they need a private place to do it. Which I was like, don't you guys both have houses? Like, this is probably working. Probably do it at Caroline's house. But anyway, we're back in the old witch house, which I don't mind.
I like the house. It's
setting.
A cool aesthetic, which is definitely why they did it.
Yeah, exactly. It looks good. And Caroline asks Bonnie if she's sure, like, it's not haunted anymore.
Yeah, she's so scared.
She's not liking this. But Bonnie says the witches made it clear, like, they were never coming back here.
Yeah.
So they're good to do their spell. We'll come back to them. But then we see Anna and Jeremy are now in the bathroom, like, at the grill. They've gone in. And Jeremy asks Anna why she told him to lie.
Yeah.
Like we said before, obviously because she knows what they're doing is wrong. He's just too clueless to figure it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, Anna's like, because Elena is Bonnie's best friend, and therefore she wouldn't like what's going on between us. Basically
obviously,
saying what we just said. She knows it's wrong. And Jeremy uses this as an opportunity to be like, okay, but what are we?
Yeah.
Men are so sick.
He's so annoying. He's like, how can we touch?
Yeah, he's like, why can we touch? Oh my God.
Yeah, they're so funny.
They are. But Anna's like, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. And Jeremy is like, I gotta ask, like, is the witch that's helping Vicky helping you now? Which is a fair question. Yeah. But Anna's like, no, like, of course not. And Anna grabs Jeremy's hand, and Jeremy's like, I shouldn't be doing this. This is not okay.
Bro.
Then leave.
Yeah,
then leave.
then don't do it.
Yeah. Which Anna says the same. She's like, well, then send me away. Like, I'm only here because you want me here as much as I want to be here. And Jeremy is like, I don't know what's going on. But before, like, you lose your ability to feel, like, before this is done, I have to do this. And he kisses her.
Screaming, crying, throwing up,
I'm
breaking
throwing
the
shit at the
television.
TV.
Yeah, pissed. Literally, they was already cheating, obviously. But this is like, you can't even deny to yourself anymore that you're not cheating. This is so straight up cheating that, like, there's no justification for why you'd randomly be doing this. It really just pisses me off. Obviously, we've been going on about it for like every episode because it's just like, how do you get yourself in this situation, Jeremy?
Yeah,
this is not justifiable. And it's also kind of shocking to me that Anna is willing to also just be like,
I know.
it's wrong, but we clearly both want it, so it must be right. Like, that's basically what Anna's saying. Like, it's crazy.
It is. I know. I will say, Anna gets redeemed for me a little bit by the end of the episode.
Yes, she does for me too. And the justification of just being lonely and being desperate for human connection, I think, is a lot more justifiable on her end. Jeremy, no excuses.
Bonnie right here, you snake.
Yeah, he's messed up for this.
He is.
Also super random. I don't know how we haven't talked about it before. We might have in season 1, but Anna's Scrabble ring. She's still wearing it.
I know.
I was obsessed with the Scrabble ring in high school.
I do like her
I had a Scrabble
ring.
necklace in high school.
Oh,
with an
I
S.
remember that. Yeah.
So I just was like, I saw it again because they did a close up of her hands, and I was like, I love that ring.
I know. I did notice they had the ring. I was like,
yeah,
it's
so
nice.
funny.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we see again in a little cut of Caroline lighting the candles and Bonnie getting the manifestation spell rolling.
Yeah.
And we see a breeze flow through the room at the witch house.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick little cut of that. Back to the grill. A lot of back and forth in this episode.
Oh, there's a ton.
That is the through line of the episode. Cutting back and forth. We see Alaric and Elena have gone inside the grill, and Elena is like, I'm going to go get Jeremy. And Damon then comes up beside Alaric, and Alaric is like, I've had enough of vampires today, thanks. 2 seconds of Stefan, and he was like
Albert,
no more vampires.
That's too much.
I can't, no more. And Damon is like, have a drink with me, Alaric, come on.
Yeah.
And Alaric says, I don't like you anymore.
He killed me. We're not friends. I don't like you anymore. So, like, honest, so concrete. Yeah. He was like, I'm done.
It's over.
Bye. We broke up.
Which I think is kind of good. I feel like someone needed to kind of set that boundary with Damon of like, you can't just kill people.
Yeah, and then be forgiven just like that, just because he came back to life. It was still so wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I'm sure it's like uncomfortable and painful. Like, can't be good.
I mean, he lost a whole night.
That
it's just like, it's not fair. You can't treat your friends like that, especially.
Exactly.
So, yes, it's good that he's laying down the law with Damon. Clear boundaries.
Yes, exactly.
Don't kill me.
Yeah, don't kill me. I'm asking the bare minimum, Damon, please.
Just don't kill me.
Yeah. Damon is like not getting it though, and he's like, okay, but remember when we killed Mason Lockwood as besties?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still pissed about that. That's pretty much it for that.
Yeah, it's definitely enough to draw in.
Alaric can be definitely like, tell me more.
Yeah, definitely. That requires that reaction.
Definitely.
But now we're about to go into some really quick, big reveals because, of course, we go back to the old witch house where Bonnie is chanting. The wind is going crazy. Caroline is like, I don't like this. And has she never been present for a spell before? I don't think so.
No,
I guess just like the ring, the daylight ring is the only one I can think of. But that's like a nothing spell.
Yeah.
This is the first big one because this is classic. The wind going crazy, the candles getting huge, and then also, suddenly...
Also, the idea of like ghosts being revealed is freaky. Like this whole place could be filled for all she knows.
Oh my god! Imagine if they came on and there were just hundreds of people in the room. I'd be crying. I'd be like, I'd ditch Bonnie. I'd be like, you'll be fine.
I'm staking myself after this. I'm like, no.
Oh my god. But then,
anyway,
we get into the serious. Suddenly, we see a close up of Bonnie's hands, and there are hands holding her hands. Caroline's like, "Is that?" And then we see Grams is back. First, like, ghost revealed with the unvanishing spell, which is the best one to get unrevealed. And then, quick cut to Mystic Girl, where Elena's walking into the bathroom, and she sees, and we see, Jeremy kissing Anna, and we know Elena sees her because she says, Anna. Shocker, they both look obviously like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
we didn't think we were going to get caught.
Yeah, oops.
We thought it would look like Jeremy was just making out with air.
I know, what's worse? Elena actually seeing Anna, or she comes in, Jeremy's like,
yeah, just get
to the air.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure she'd get the idea, but it's way more disturbing that way. But anyway, one more. Well, actually, two more.
A couple more reveals.
Town square. Stefan is like, obviously he's left the grill. He's just walking down the street when suddenly he sees in the reflection of a car window, and he turns around and it's Lexi. Yeah. Another fave. Like they brought all the best ghosts back.
They really did.
One more. Mystic Grill. Damon and Alaric are sitting at the bar. Obviously, they agreed to sit down and talk about this Mason issue. When suddenly, we see someone sit down next to them. And it is, of course, Mason. Lockwood. Of course. And Alaric is shocked.
Yeah.
And says, Mason?
Yeah.
Like, he definitely wasn't buying Damon's story. And now he's like, damn it, he was right again.
Like, shit, I guess I'm his friend again.
Yeah. And Mason just takes it like drink and says, God, I missed whiskey. And so he takes the shot, and then he smashes the glass on Damon's head. He's not going to be focused on revenge this episode, but he needed his small taste where he could get them.
That little outlet to just be like...
anything he can do to mess with him. So he smashes the glass against Damon's head. Damon, like, obviously, you know, kind of is hit by that, and then looks at Alaric and goes, told ya. Just, he loves to be right. I can relate, but it's just funny that it's like he had to be right about that.
Yep. I love this episode. This like series of reveals all back to back quick was so well done.
I know, because like obviously we already knew about Mason, that was hinted at, and obviously we've had for a while. Yeah. But the Lexi reveal, the Grams reveal, just so shocking. It was such a like this is an episode. We've said it like the last few, I think, but like a first watch just is crazy.
Wild. Yeah.
It really hits. It's so good.
It is so good. Back to one of our faves. We go back to like the Lexi Stefan plot to see how that unfolded. And Stefan is like, how the hell can I see you? Yeah. And Lexi's like, I have no idea, but let's get to the point. You're off the rails in a major way. And Stefan is like, yeah, leave me alone. And he goes to walk away, but Lexi grabs him and is like, what kind of friend would I be if I didn't help you get out of this mess? A true ride or die till the end. And Stefan is like, I don't want your help. And Lexi's like, you say that every single time, Stefan. Like, I just, she's like, she knows this. She knows the steps.
I love this line when she's like, I don't want your help. I don't want to get better. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
It sounds just like Stefan. She's giving him as good as he is giving.
Yeah. And Stefan tells her, like, maybe you should listen this time then. And she says, or maybe I should do this. And she slams his head against the car window.
Shattering the glass.
Yeah, like a full shatter. And Stefan just falls to the ground, like unconscious.
Yeah. And she just looks around like, smirks, she's like, okay.
Kind of does like a little look to make sure no one was like surprised, but it's a cute little look around.
It is good. Yeah, I think it's so funny. Again, like she's matching the Ripper energy. No one else has been brave enough to match Stefan, and Lexi's like, I don't care.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Whether she, and I have to believe that she was always like that, but I think there is the benefit now of being a ghost and being like, you can't touch me.
Yeah, you literally can't do anything to me.
Yeah, so that really ups the ante there.
Yeah.
But of course, we'll check back in at the witch house where Bonnie is looking at Grams and she's crying, like saying she can't believe it, like that Grams is there. But Grams is obviously like, we don't have much time. We got to get to business. But she does say a quick hi to Caroline. Nice to see her. And Caroline says a very polite, hi, Miss Sheila.
I know, it's so cute.
It's like, so sweet.
I love Caroline.
I love Caroline. I love that she calls her that. It's so real for like interacting with your friends' grandparents. It's always polite. Like your grandparents will always be like a Mrs. Miss. Like that's how you treat them.
Yeah.
So it's cute that she did that. And Grams tells Bonnie that, you know, she made a mess here.
Yeah.
And, you know, the witches told her that for bringing Jeremy back, there was going to be consequences. And Bonnie did it anyway. So, like, you know, this is what happens. And Bonnie says, I didn't have a choice. I love him and I just couldn't let him go. And now he's cheating with the ghost. That was the consequence.
Oh my God. Cheating. Imagine you bring someone back to life because you love them so much. You can't just let them die. You can't live without them. And they cheat on you with a ghost.
That is really crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, there must be some other stories like that. If anybody knows one, let me know because I'm really curious.
Yeah.
That's really funny. But anyway, Graham says, you know, like she understands theoretically, but there is an old witch on the other side that took advantage of Bonnie because of this. And when Bonnie sent Vicky away, the witch was able to use that as a door to pull wide open, giving any ghost with unfinished business a free pass to like go into their world and do what they want. And I always wondered with this, does this only affect Mystic Falls, or does it affect, like, the whole world? Like, how does this work?
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking a lot about this. I was like, I feel like there are some inconsistencies even within Mystic Falls.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was seeing that too. I wasn't sure if it's just Mystic Falls or what, because
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Theoretically, it's the whole world.
I was going to say, ghost stuff feels like it should be the whole world. Feels like
Yeah.
you can't just be like, the ghosts are only in Mystic Falls. That's all that
Yeah, it
exists.
doesn't seem to make
But
sense.
also, maybe there's something to be said about, like, the door was opened there, so that's where it's the strongest. The
Yeah,
further
there's,
out
like,
you
a
get from the
radius or
nexus
something.
point is, like, less, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some reason. But they never elaborate. They're just like, we only care about this town.
Yeah.
That's all we care about ever.
Yeah, of course.
But anyway, so Graham says, like, she knows all of this. She's learned all of this because on the other side, witches all talk to each other. And she says, who do you think are making all the rules? And I saw Caroline on the side, like, did a little smirk, like a little smile. And I was like, love that. Go
Yeah.
witches. They get their justice on the other side.
Yeah.
They rule over everybody else. But Bonnie asks what the witch who, like, did this even wants. Like, what's her goal? And Grams tells her, you know, it's original vampire business. She doesn't want Bonnie getting in the middle of that. Like, she should just stay out of it. But Bonnie did upset the balance of nature by doing this, and so it is her duty to at least fix the thing that she caused.
Yeah.
The problem she started, to close that door.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. It's like, I understand it was Bonnie's fault. Obviously, that makes sense. Like, she caused the problem. She needs to fix it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why does it always have to be Bonnie by
I know.
herself fixing
Why is Bonnie
everything?
always fixing it?
Yeah. At least she has
Yeah.
Grams this time to help her, but I'm like,
True.
it's always just down to Bonnie to fix everything. Because this happened because she saved Jeremy. Like, obviously
Yeah.
somebody had to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't know. I also think it's kind of crazy that Esther would leave the door open like this, because it's so opposed to the balance of nature, like that whole
Yeah.
thing. It also doesn't really seem to further her goals in any
Yeah.
way. Like, it's not like they're all set to kill Elena or anything.
yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
I don't
just
know.
distractions or
I guess a
something? I don't know.
distraction. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't really make... It's not very clear, but I think
I know.
otherwise well executed. So
Yeah.
I will forgive it.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more to talk about with Esther generally
Yeah.
as the story goes.
Something I won't forgive. Back to Jeremy and Elena. Elena is now in the bathroom with Jeremy and Anna, and she's on the phone with Caroline, and Caroline is explaining, like, everything that Grams just said, basically, that the original witch can draw power from the side with a talisman, therefore the necklace, and Bonnie needs to destroy it. And Elena wastes no time and is like, I just walked in on Jeremy kissing the reason I'm completely okay with destroying the necklace. But she does tell Caroline, like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't have the necklace. Damon has it somewhere.
Yeah.
I love her for just immediately being like, Caroline, guess what?
Yeah, also the fact she does this standing directly in front of
I
Anna and
know.
Jeremy. Look at Jeremy literally is like, he raises his hands
Yeah.
up like, what the heck? You're
Yeah.
like outing my cheating to everyone in town. Which
Good.
it is good, but we'll talk about it later as it goes, because I also think it was kind of not good, because it sucks that
wasn't.
everyone knows before Bonnie.
True.
That's so messed up.
True.
But anyway, we'll talk about that later as it becomes,
Yeah.
as Bonnie learns.
Yeah. But anyway, Damon has the necklace somewhere. Elena doesn't have it. So they hang up, and Elena turns back to the cheaters, and she tells
The
Anna
cheaters.
to get lost.
Yeah.
And Jeremy is like, it's not her fault. And Elena's like, you're right. It's actually your fault, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Which I really agree with. I'm like, again, I think Anna gets her whole redemption, and I really, like, sympathize with her not wanting to be alone, like we already talked about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is on Jeremy.
It
Fully.
is.
It
I
is.
mean,
It is. Because he could send her
Anytime
away.
The person in the relationship doing the cheating, it is their fault.
It's on them.
Yeah, that's on them. So, yes, it is Jeremy's fault. We hold men especially accountable for cheating on
Absolutely.
their girlfriends with their dead girlfriends.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But this all causes Anna to, like, then disappear. And Jeremy pretty much immediately tells Elena to not tell Bonnie. And Elena's like, I won't. You're going to do that yourself after we deal with, like, the ghost problem. So Elena then leaves. And as she's going out of the bathroom, she runs into Lexi, who tells her it was a good day to be thinking about her.
Yeah.
I do like this duo a lot.
Yeah.
And Lexi, like, wastes no time and is like, come with me. We're going to do a crash course in Ripper
Yeah.
detoxing. Like, let's
Yep.
go. And she, like, grabs Elena's wrist, which also, like, gives Elena, like, a, oh,
Yeah.
wow, like, she's really here. And then Elena also kind of hesitates because she looks back at the bathroom. Obviously, a lot else is going on. She's got to choose what she's going to deal with today. But after a second, she's like, okay, let's go. So she goes off with Lexi, and they're going to detox Stefan and get him back to normal. We'll
see. Hopefully.
Yeah,
that's obviously going to be
aim.
A huge process.
Yeah.
But also at the Mystic Grow, we see Damon is at the bar, and he's texting, and he says, I'm never going to hear the end of this damn necklace. Obviously, Caroline has reached out to him to figure out where it is, which is funny. But anyway, Mason is still just there, hanging out.
Ripping shots.
Yeah, he's doing shots. He's hanging out. He's like, when are you guys going to pay for this? Somebody's paying for this? I don't have any money. I'm dead. But Damon's like, I get it. Like, you want revenge. Like, let's just get into it. Let's get it over with.
Yep.
And Mason says, actually, he doesn't want revenge. All he wants is an apology. And Alaric bursts out laughing. Like, he can't control it. And then he stops really quickly. Like, a genuine laugh where you're like, oh, I wasn't supposed to laugh.
I wasn't. No.
That wasn't supposed to be funny to anybody.
Yeah.
And he, like, stops and he goes, like, oh, good luck. Like, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck.
But yes, so he says good luck with that. And Damon says that Mason has a family. Why not go haunt your family? Go, like, deal with
Tyler,
like Tyler
yeah.
or whatever. He says he's his mindless hybrid minion nephew, which Mason says is why he's here, to help Tyler. And it's sweet that Mason came back to life, and instead of like dealing with revenge killing Damon, he's like, I want to help Tyler. Like, this is what I actually want to do with my short time that I have back to life.
I know. It's so consistent with his character.
It really is.
So good.
Yeah, this is why I love him.
Yeah.
And so Mason says that, like, there is a way to help Tyler if they can find a weapon to kill Klaus. And Damon realizes, like, wait, you know something. Like, there is something to know here. And Mason, like, says he won't tell them until he gives him an apology.
Yeah.
He will not work with them until Damon apologizes. And Damon, like, tries to object. And Alaric says, are you incapable of remorse?
Please.
Literally just apologize.
Yeah.
Just apologize. It's that easy. And so Damon gives his half-assed apology saying, like, well, I didn't have to kill you. I do a lot of things I don't have to do. That's the apology.
That's it.
He didn't even say sorry. He didn't even say, like, it's sad that you're dead for you. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
he was just like, I did it and I didn't have to.
Yeah.
There you go. That's your apology. And Mason laughs, though, and he's like, good enough. He knows that's as good as he's
Mason's a good
get.
sport.
He is a good sport.
Yeah.
And love him. Like, this is why I always was saying in season 2, I wish we got more Mason and Damon. They're such a good pair.
They are. I know. And that only continues. I also love, this is like a little, like, similarity to when Elijah just wanted the apology from Damon. All anyone ever wants from him is an apology, and he just can't. Like, he just can't
Elena
do it.
is like, you have to apologize, and he's still.
like,
I've said this in previous scenes. I'm like, he doesn't say I'm sorry.
He never does.
He kind of explains his logic a little bit, but he doesn't say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Very rarely does he say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it's funny, and Mason just laughs about it and is like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I know that's as good as I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
So he gets up and goes over and tells Damon to meet him at the old Lockwood cellar. And he tells Damon to bring a shovel, and then he kind of looks at Alaric and then looks back at Damon and says, come alone. So don't bring Alaric with you, basically, which is interesting. I don't know exactly why he said that.
Yeah. I am choosing to interpret it like Mason kind of wanted to, like, mend things with Damon, and it would be harder to do that if
that's true.
Alaric was there. Like, I don't know. I kind of take it as, like, some of the unfinished business that Mason had was kind of, like, fixing this in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and he needed Damon alone, not with his, like, buddy to do that. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I really have a reason for it. But
there's not really, like, a given reason.
There's definitely
not. Maybe
not.
that's a little part of it.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. But Damon asks, he's like, does that mean you're going to, like, bury me alive?
Yeah.
And Mason's like, don't tempt me. I love this little duo.
Yeah, they're my favorite duo.
They really are. Another fave duo. We see Stefan is now tied up in the Forbes jail cell.
Yeah.
That they wanted to put him in the last episode, and they got him here. And he's, like, asleep. His head is, like, slumped down. And Elena and Lexi are looking at him. And Elena is explaining to Lexi that Klaus compelled him to turn off his humanity. And Lexi says, we're just going to have to convince him to turn it back on then. And she also warns Elena, like, this is not going to be pretty. Mm-hmm. So Lexi then, like, wakes Stefan up. And he, of course, like, starts struggling.
Like, kicks him.
Yeah, she kicks him. Yeah, she wasn't kidding, which said it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
And Stefan starts struggling against, like, the chains in the chair. And he starts getting angry. And Lexi tells Elena, basically, that the first step is to dry him out to starve away the bloodlust. So she, like, starts to, like, kind of get into his, like, get near Stefan. Mm-hmm. And Stefan starts telling her this isn't going to work. But Lexi just leans in and like looks him in the eye, and Stefan asks her what she's doing, but then he like immediately just starts like seeming like he's in pain, like agonizing, and she says she's doing what she does best, saving his life. She's like very clearly getting in his head to make him think that he's been starved for X amount of time.
Yeah, and we see him in his mind, like, seeing himself desiccate.
Yeah.
But then it, like, comes back to reality, and he's not desiccating. Yep. He's fine. But he is screaming in pain.
He's
so
feeling
clearly
it,
she's
but
making him physically feel and see that he's, like, desiccating, even though he's not.
Yeah.
She's crazy.
Yeah. Which also is, like, this is such an interesting example of getting in someone's head, because I feel like we mostly see it with either humans or very weakened vampires.
Yeah, werewolf bites or something.
Yeah, like Rose when she's kind of sick, and then Stefan gets in Catherine's head when she's like about to die. And, like,
I know. Yeah, I was wondering about this because Stefan's so hyped up on blood. Like, I'm like, how can Lexi even achieve this?
That's what
we know
I was
Lexi's
thinking.
Older than Stefan, and maybe she's just very honed like the skill of mind control. I don't know. It's very interesting, but it did make me wonder too. Like, how could she even do this?
How? Yeah.
But anyway, this whole scene is interesting. It's really smart how, like, Stefan, like, strategizes to, like, target Elena to be like, oh, help me, like, let me go. And it's definitely a huge test for her, and we'll get back into that in the next scene, too.
Oh, yeah,
it continues to get a lot harder for Elena. But, of course, we have to go back to the Lockwood cellar where it is night, and Mason is waiting there with a lantern. Damon finally arrives with a shovel, saying, like, he's highly motivated to get this done because Mason is now his only, like, lead on killing Klaus and Mason says, because, like, the Michael thing hasn't really worked out.
Yeah.
And Mason, like, Damon's surprised Mason knows all of this. And Mason says that, like, on the other side, there isn't much to do except watch other people just screw stuff up.
Yeah.
And he tells Damon that there's this old Lockwood family legend about a weapon to kill an original vampire, and they kept it buried, which I was like, first of all.
I know. I was like, pause.
Yeah, pause. What? Second.
So Mason has known about originals the whole time?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, which I guess Uncle John, like the Gilbert Diaries, had info about, like, the originals and the daggers. But yeah, I was like, how do the founding families of Mystic Falls have all this info about original vampires and how to kill them, and which I guess that they were from the same area, so maybe there's some connection there. But I was like, this is crazy.
But I also feel like it doesn't make any sense, really, because how did, like, John Gilbert and an old Lockwood person, a founding family, figure this out, presumably after they had settled in Mystic Falls, but Stefan and Damon know nothing about him?
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, it's very weird.
It's weird. I thought that was like,
the original vampire info is always very weird, very questionable as to who knows and who doesn't. But anyway, somehow Mason knows that there's the lore that they have this old weapon buried under the like old Lockwood property, I guess. Yeah. And so Mason goes up to a brick wall and starts, like, smashing it with the shovel, which I was like, why did he ask for a shovel and not a sledgehammer if the plan was to use it to break a wall? Doesn't make any sense, but okay. Because obviously it's, like, not working. Like, it is smashing the brick, but it's, like, kind of slow going and whatever. Yeah. So Damon's like, let me take over. It. So he takes it, literally smashes it, looks like cake. He just flies through it, which I was like, I feel like that would break the shovel faster than the wall, but okay.
Probably, but
whatever. They get in. And they both stick their heads in, like, to look around in, like, the hole that they've opened up. And they see there's, like, a cave system. And so Mason tells Damon to go in first. But Damon's like, no, not a chance. You're trying to get me. And so he tells Mason to go. And so, of course, Mason just does go in, leading the way. And we'll come back later to see what they find.
Yeah. Back with the Ripper detox, Stefan is feral. Yeah. He is screaming that he's starving, all this stuff. Lexi tells Elena that this is where she kind of explains that she's in his head. She says, Stefan's hallucinating that he's 3 months without blood. Now he's at 9 months. Now 2 years. 5 years. Like, she's slowly, like, increasing how long he's been deprived of blood in his mind. And Stefan asks Lexi if he's ever told her how glad he is that she's dead. Oh. And Lexi's just like, oh, I missed you too, friend. Like,
She's stronger than me. I'd be crying.
Oh, I know. And Elena gets a call from Caroline at this point, and she goes out to take it. And Caroline's, looking for the necklace at this time. And she's saying she can't find it. And Elena tells Caroline that she needs to hold off on sending the ghost back because now Lexi is here helping Stefan. And Caroline is like, let's just find it first and then we'll choose between the boyfriend ghost dramas.
Yeah.
And then Caroline hangs up the phone, and obviously Bonnie is there with Caroline at the Salvatore house looking for the necklace. And Bonnie is like, what do you mean dramas, plural? Caroline immediately is just like, oh, Elena caught Jeremy and Anna kissing. Like,
insane that she just dropped that like that.
I know. I was like, she's real for like telling Bonnie and not wanting to keep the secret. But like, come on.
Come on. I thought the same thing. I was like, obviously we all want Bonnie to know.
Of course. Absolutely.
But this makes me be like, you cannot trust Caroline with anything. This was not the time, the place, the situation to tell her at all. It was not Caroline's business to tell her.
No.
I do think she should have waited for Jeremy to tell her after the ghost had gone away.
Absolutely.
Like, and obviously if Jeremy didn't tell Bonnie immediately, then one of the girls should have told her.
Yes.
But I'm like, it's insane that she just drops that on her like that. And then she also tries to move on so quick and be like, don't worry, we're going to send the ghosts away. Like, we're going to, like, get rid of them.
I know. I was like,
you know, it'll be good, Bonnie. Like, don't worry. And it's like, you just dropped on her that her boyfriend literally, actually, categorically has cheated on her.
Yeah.
And, like, you think you're just going to go back to working on the mission? Like, why would you put her through more emotional trauma than she's already going through? In the middle of this thing that she has to pick that's becoming increasingly more dramatic and dangerous for everybody. Like,
I know.
I really disagreed with this.
Yeah, I did not love it. I respect the desire to, like, get Bonnie in the know like that.
Definitely.
I'm like, yes.
It sucks. That's why I'm like, I didn't like that Elena even told Caroline.
I know.
It should have stayed a little private first.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like probably the error was more on Elena's part than Caroline's a little bit.
But still.
Also, I just hate the way Caroline acts about all of her friends' relationships. I'm like,
I know,
girl, sometimes it's not your business.
Especially when she's got all this, like,
I know, like,
boyfriend
Tyler
drama
also
too.
sucks, so chill.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard. She does come from a place of trying to genuinely help and whatever, but she does constantly, especially the last, like, 4 or 5 episodes, she's been constantly inserting herself in a way that I'm just like, stop. It's not about you.
It's not. Yeah. It's really not. Yeah.
Yeah, like the trying to get Bonnie, like, just admit you're not okay with it. Obviously
she's not. It's the thing is, I feel like, yeah, it's fine to, like, you know, care about your friends and want to, like, you know, kind of provide insight on their relationships. That's very normal. But it's like this thing where it's like, actually, you're just making them feel bad unnecessarily.
Yeah, which
like,
is not.
Yeah, I don't know. She's crossing a line.
Yeah. So now she has to motivate Bonnie back into, like, the mission and getting rid of the necklace and be like, we'll put that on pause. Yeah. Like, again, why tell her then?
Yeah, during, like, an extremely stressful situation. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
we'll go.
It's Illumination night.
Yeah, I was gonna say we'll go to the town square.
We can talk about that forever.
Yeah. Going to the town square for Illumination night. There are people everywhere. It is a full event. The night is swinging. Jeremy is walking around. He's openly calling for Anna. He's walking through the crowd calling for her, which I was just like, we've gone so far past where we were. Like, this is insane. But instead of finding Anna, Jeremy accidentally runs into Frederick, the season 1 tomb vampire, which is another crazy escalation of this plot. That was probably the most crazy person they could have brought back at this point.
I know. I was like, this is so random. And also, I feel like they've kind of been saying, like, you have to be thinking of someone to kind of get them back. Because Lexi's like, yeah, it's a good day to be thinking about me.
Who was thinking about Frederick?
Who was like, God, I miss Frederick.
Yeah, I don't think this plot makes a lot of sense of who's coming back when.
Yeah, no.
Because also nobody thought of or said anything about Mason before he came back, right?
No. Yeah, I was seeing that too. Like,
yeah, I think the rules of who's coming back when and why is loose. It's they did say it's mostly unfinished business, which obviously the tomb vampires have unfinished business, as we will see.
Yes.
Unfortunately, though, of course, Jeremy doesn't even realize that's who this is. He didn't meet the tomb vampires specifically, so he doesn't realize. He just apologizes, like, for running into him, and just moves on. Which also, just to go back to Frederick too, I also just want to say this is crazy generally how many people they got in this episode. It feels like it's a season finale or a mid-season finale.
Yeah, they were like, the whole show could be dropped after this episode. Let's get them all back.
Get everyone we can. I was really like, I had to think about it as I was watching. I was like, was this the mid-season finale? It's not.
No.
Homecoming was. We're like a couple episodes off.
Yeah.
Maybe this was right before Thanksgiving or something. But I was like, this is a crazy episode to have this many appearances in.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
No, it's wild. And yet, no justice for Jenna.
No
I'm
justice
back on
for
that one.
Jenna.
I'm back on that one. We have Frederick, but no Jenna.
Yeah. Not fair. Where's
Interesting.
Luca? Give me Luca.
Oh,
we need more witches.
Should have given me Luca.
Yeah. Just bring them all back.
Yeah, bring everybody back.
But anyway, obviously there's some business to get down to. So Carol goes up to Alaric saying that they can't find Tobias Fell for the lighting ceremony. Obviously we saw earlier in the day. I don't know if that was a practice run or what that was. But
who knows?
He had been there. Now he's missing. What do we think happened to him with all the tomb vampires back who hate founding family members to a guy whose last name is Fell? We'll see.
Yeah.
But anyway, Frederick walks right up to Anna and starts like taunting her, calling her little Annabelle. And we see Carol go up on stage and start her speech welcoming everybody. And since they can't find Tobias, they have Alaric come on stage to instead like introduce the lighting ceremony or whatever as a member of the historical department and give the history speech. Cut back into the audience. We see Jeremy is still like running around looking for Anna, and Frederick notices this, saying to Anna, I guess you forgot the fact that his family killed you and your mother.
Yeah.
It was Uncle John, but still, he gets his family.
Come on.
Yeah.
He's dead.
And he's dead anyway.
Let it be.
Let it be. They won't let anything be. Because also later they try to kill Carol. I'm like, she married in. It's not even her ancestor.
She's been saying it.
Yeah. But anyway, Jeremy arrives finally finding Anna, and he like sees Frederick and that it's like a little weird and asks if everything is okay. And Frederick says, ask your ancestors, which again,
get over it.
Yeah, get over it. They have so
on.
much beef. If the tomb vampires, we talked about this so much in season 1, but if the tomb vampires just left town after the tomb opened, they'd be fine.
They would literally, still be roaming the earth.
Yeah.
They could enact their revenge, a little later down the line.
Wait a decade and it'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just crazy. But anyway, we see more tomb vampires come and join like Frederick there. And Anna asks what they're doing. And Frederick says they've got some unfinished business with the founding family members, of course, as they've always said. So we see Alaric on stage as he's announcing, and he says, like, light them up about the lanterns, because they had all these lanterns, which I forgot to say. During the daylight scenes, I loved the look of the lanterns still.
Yeah,
they were all like
really
the
cute.
rainbow, colorful, all over town. Even in daylight, it looked nice. But of course, here, when they light them up, it's so beautiful. They fill the space. Until now, all of that light filling the space, we see they have killed and hung Tobias Fell from a tree in the middle of the town square, which now everyone can see. People are screaming. It's literally insane. What are we saying? 4 missing girls.
Yeah, now a dead, presumably history teacher, because he's like the head of the history department. This would make national news.
Oh, hanging his body in the town square the way he looked, covered in blood.
Yeah, he was bloody.
That would be national news.
Yeah, we're up to 4 missing girls, a dead history teacher.
Yeah,
God knows what else we're not remembering that's just happened.
I don't even know. So much. So, yes, it's just, not to mention all the girls Stefan's been killing. Who knows where he's getting them from.
Dead Mayor Lockwood.
That's true. So fishy.
Yeah,
so I don't know how anyone in this town is still living there and isn't traumatized. Yeah. They're definitely all traumatized.
Oh my God, after this.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the end of that scene. Obviously, the tomb vampires are wreaking havoc is basically the takeaway. They're not holding any punches. Like we just said, that death was so terrible. Clearly, they're not going to be subtle at all.
Yeah, no. Which obviously makes things a lot more urgent.
Yes.
But yeah, also terrible situation, traumatizing. Stefan is now still tied to the chair, sweating, he's panting, he's begging Elena to make it stop. And he starts promising he'll change, he'll do anything. And it's just a lot of him begging. And Lexi is telling Elena, ignore him. He will say anything right now. You have to just, put him out of your mind.
Yeah.
Then Stefan starts playing the love card.
Yeah, I love you so much.
Yeah, he tells Elena he loves her so much. And Elena tells Stefan that she doesn't believe him. And he immediately, visibly,
switches up.
Verbally, switches up. He starts saying he wished he'd never met her. Every moment with her has been a waste. Yeah. Ladies, this is a cautionary tale. They will switch up in a heartbeat. He's fake as fuck. I hate Stefan. I love him, but I hate him.
I know, I love him, but this is a bad episode.
This is bad.
He's obviously mean the same thing with Lexi, where he's like, I wish you were still dead.
Well, yeah. My whole thing I was going to say about this was like, how could Elena even pretend to love him after this? Like, I understand a little bit of the justification of being like, he doesn't mean it. Like, he's just lost or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the real Stefan. But it's like, but it's still in there that he can be this nasty. Like,
yeah, it's so hard. The humanity off stuff, especially for Elena, who doesn't, we don't even understand it first of all, but she obviously doesn't understand it. So in her mind, I think she's like, it's not Stefan. He didn't choose to turn it off. Klaus made him. Yeah. So it's not something he wants to be. But I don't know. It is crazy because obviously we've seen so many other vampires with humanity off, and they don't act like this.
No. This is, I think, particularly bad. And again, like, I feel like some of these things, it's like, you could never unhear them.
No, yeah.
Even if you somehow justify them as, he's not himself. He didn't choose this. Like,
oh no, I'd always hear every moment I've spent with you has been a complete and total waste. That would echo in my brain at 3 a.m.
Yeah, literally. But anyway, Lexi does tell Elena that that's the Ripper talking. You have to make him weak and then cause him pain. Basically to make him feel anything. Yeah. Us rewatchers know.
Yes.
You gotta just make them feel any emotion, even if it's bad.
Yeah. Even if it's anger, rage, anything.
Exactly. Which I think is what she's going for. Because Lexi just starts like repeatedly staking him. And she's unfazed. She's telling Elena it's like a regiment, like running or making coffee.
Day in, stab, day out, stab, just over and over again.
Which also was like, what is Lexi planning? Because they know this isn't going to last probably more than a day. Elena's going to come down here and start stabbing him day in and day out.
That's what she's suggesting.
I mean, I guess she'd probably get like a Alaric or something.
Yeah, Damon.
But you're Damon, yeah. But Stefan is then screaming at Lexi that he'll rip her apart. And she's like, you can't. I'm already dead. And she stakes him again. She's relentless. Yeah. That's why these two are a good pair. Yeah. Elena and Lexi.
Yeah, relentless.
And Elena, kind of to what we were saying, she's like, I can't. Like,
this is too much.
Had too much. And she leaves the cell to like go outside, which I guess we should have already known because I think it's like connected to the jail.
Yeah.
It's right near the town square.
Oh, right off.
So I'm like, no one is hearing anyone's screams. It's just made of stone. It's not like insulated. Whatever. So she's right there in the town square and she sees like police, ambulance, and like clearly chaos.
Yeah, like, something bad's happened.
Something has gone down. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And she sees the body on the gurney. Which is covered. Clearly a dead body because there's like a blanket over top. Like clearly someone is dead. She doesn't know who obviously, but it's like, okay, reality check.
Something is bad. Yeah,
definitely the check back of should the ghost still be here? Maybe not.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to Elena later, but we got to go back to Bonnie and Caroline's mission to try to find the freaking necklace. Yep. They have turned over Damon's room. They even checked the soap bowl. They were like, I know. We don't know where this thing is.
Great callback though to when
it is a good callback. Yeah, but obviously they can't find the necklace anywhere. No. And then they see Bonnie's phone starts vibrating on like the desk or whatever, and they see that it's Jeremy calling, and they share that look, the girls' look of like, we both know what we like need to do now. So Caroline answers it. Clearly Bonnie can't talk to him right now. Yeah. And he's just like, surprised it's Caroline, but he's just asking like if they found the necklace, and like he's telling them basically to hurry it up because the tomb vampires killed Tobias fell, and is like, this is getting urgent now. And Caroline says like, the necklace isn't where it's supposed to be. Like, we can't find it. Maybe somebody took it. How else could it be where it's not like where it wasn't supposed to be? Yeah, it's nowhere. And Caroline asks Jeremy like, well, who do you think would take it? Who do you think could or would do that? And Jeremy, like, we see him on the phone in the town square, and he just turns to Anna and looks at her, and she immediately is like, what? Like, I didn't do it. Me. I wouldn't do that. I promise, Jeremy. And he chooses to believe her, and he tells Caroline that he believes her. And Caroline says, you're an even bigger idiot than I thought. Wake up, Jeremy, before you lose everything. And she hangs up on him.
I'm like, okay, she redeemed herself.
Yeah, I was like, I agree with her. He is a bigger idiot than I thought.
Right.
It's so funny, though, because it's like, it's so high school of her in a way to be like, you're going to lose everything over this. Like, come on, Elena's not going to, like, disinherit her brother because he cheated with her.
She's going to kick him out into the streets.
Like, obviously, that would cause major sibling beef for, like, pretty much ever. If my sibling did this to one of my friends, I would be bringing it up 50 years later.
Absolutely.
I'd be like, you're never living this
I'd
down.
be like, you're dead to me.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously
like,
they're
also
your
you're not.
sibling.
Yeah.
You know, you're fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just funny that she's like, you'll lose everything
Yeah.
because of this. Your name will be mud in this town. That's basically what Caroline is saying to Jeremy.
It's true.
My mother's the sheriff.
She's gonna arrest you.
Yeah, but it's so funny. So she hangs up on him, and we see Jeremy turn back to face Anna, but she's suddenly gone, disappeared.
Obviously
now
suspicious.
That's suspicious.
Yeah.
And then we see Jeremy like starting to look through the town square when Elena finally finds him, and she's like, "What happened? What is going on?"
Yeah.
Cut away, obviously, but
yeah.
you know, obviously he fills her in that people are dying because of this.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll come back to what they end up doing. But we got to check back in with Mason and Damon digging through the Lockwood cellar caves. Mm-hmm. They're like just walking through, and Damon is still questioning Mason about his motives. But Mason tells him that basically like he knows Damon won't screw him over as long as they have the same agenda, which right now they do. They just want to get this weapon.
Yeah, because I like how Mason says that Damon will do anything for his brother. He
Yes.
says, you talk a big talk, but I know that you'll do anything for your brother. So
exactly.
Like, glad he noticed that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Mason respects that too, because obviously
He
he'll do
does.
anything for Tyler.
Exactly.
And Damon and Mason come across like a crossroads. Like
Yes.
the caves kind of split off, not sure where to go. And Mason tells Damon to flip a coin to decide which way to go. And Damon's like, why don't you know which way to go if you're like all knowing? But Mason's like, I'm a ghost, not a god. Like, just go left. So Damon goes the other way.
Yeah, he goes right, of course.
Yeah. And Mason is like, you have serious trust issues. Has anyone ever told you that?
Elena, if she were there right now, would be like fist pumping. Yeah, be like, finally.
Like, yes.
Yes, I'm always saying that.
Yeah. And so Damon like kind of goes down this pathway, and suddenly like a bunch of sharp wooden stakes basically poke out from all the walls and go through Damon's body. And then when Damon tries to like pull them out, he burns because they're clearly like soaked in vervain.
Yep.
And Damon like calls to Mason for help, but Mason isn't seen. He's not there.
Yeah, just suddenly gone.
Yeah, making you think for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a trap.
So we go back to the Night of Illumination before we'll check in on the cave again later, where Jeremy is talking to Elena, and she asks where Anna is, and he says he doesn't know, but he doesn't really know if she even has the necklace. Yeah. Still seems like he's trying to defend her, even though her disappearing was still pretty shady,
for sure.
Kind of a guarantee. And Elena points out that Anna is the only one who could do it. She's the only one that's been listening to them, that would know what they're doing and why they're doing it. And she's the only person that would actually like want to do it for a reason. And so clearly Elena is now on team, let's just destroy the necklace. Let's get this thing closed up. Obviously, like, she was being a little selfish by being like, keep him here because I need Lexi. But obviously, like, realizing there were actual consequences here has, like, triggered her to be like, nope, just kidding. Like, we can't do this. This isn't fair.
For sure.
However, Jeremy still hasn't seemed to really jump on that bandwagon because he's saying, like, I can touch Anna now and I can kiss her again. And I know it's wrong and I shouldn't feel this way, but I do. And he admits that he loves Anna. He says, I've always loved her.
Are you kidding me right now?
I would throw punches.
If I were Elena,
he'd be on the ground.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I don't care if we're too old for this. You're on the ground.
No, I would be, no. Jeremy, it's over. I'm forbidding you from seeing Bonnie ever again.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Because also, I feel like this plot is so crazy because half of his relationship with Anna, he was obsessed with Vicky, and he was only with Anna trying to get back together with Vicky.
True,
so I'm like,
yeah.
It was not always Anna. When was it ever Anna, Jeremy?
It was Anna for like one episode.
Yeah, literally. Half of the time he was just trying to get to Vicky. So I'm like,
he's
that's
so
not even
unreal.
True. And Elena is stronger than me because she tries to actually just be emotional and appeal to him. And she says, like, but it isn't real, Jeremy. She is dead. It's done. Like, it is the past. And you can't be in love with a ghost for the rest of your life. You know, again, Elena's like a gentle parent. She's
she knows what to say.
I'd beat his ass, but
I'd be in there taking out my earrings, beating his ass. Yeah.
But she's like, no, this is not, you can't be in love with the ghost the rest of your life. You have to move on. And she looks over Jeremy's shoulder and sees Anna has now appeared. And Elena, like, again, does her usual appeal to someone's better side, appeal to goodness. And she starts speaking to Anna now, and she tells her, like, you're holding Jeremy back from the rest of his life. And it works. Anna reveals she's got the necklace. She was the one that stole it, and she's got it in hand. And Elena turns to Jeremy and says, call Bonnie, get her to send the ghosts away. And Elena leaves, and Jeremy just kind of looks at Anna. I'm sure that was like a heartbreaking thing for him to realize that she did that. But obviously he gets it because he wanted her to stay too. So, I don't know. It's such an intense like thing to happen, I feel, where it's, I don't know, it's so hard to feel one way or the other about anybody.
I know. Because Anna does get really pretty much fully redeemed for me by the end of the episode. So I have to blame Jeremy.
I do blame Jeremy.
That's the only feeling I have on it.
Well, and we'll get back later to why Anna did what she did. We get more info, which helps with it as well. But before we do that, we'll check back in on Damon, who's stuck.
Yeah, Damon is still staked by this like booby trap in the caves. But Mason comes back with the shovel, which I don't know. I guess they just ditched it.
They left it. Yeah, I guess.
And he comes back to like break the stakes and remove them from Damon, which just makes Damon question him further again because he has terrible trust issues. And he asked Mason like what his deal is. Like, I killed you. I ripped your heart out, threw it across the room. There's no way this buddy act is real. But Mason just tells him like, look, on the other side, we're all alone. We've watched the people that we left behind and regret our decisions. And he says like, I can't change what happened to me, but maybe I can change what happens to Tyler. I don't need revenge, Damon. I need redemption.
Great line.
Yeah. Mason was always a good one, and this proves it. This whole episode, I feel like, is such a satisfying...
Oh, like, totally.
Like, kind of closure on his character, because it's like, he never did have an ulterior motive. No. Catherine may have, like, used him as a pawn, but Mason was always good. Like, he never wanted any of this.
No, totally. I know, and I thought of Catherine in this speech, too, because I was like, you know he's referring to Catherine as, like, one of his big regrets, ever trusting and loving her. It was definitely the biggest regret ever.
Absolutely. How could it not be?
How could it not be?
It's every man who's ever been with her's regret, so.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but I do love this whole line. And I think it's so right to say it's the perfect wrap-up of his story, because I think we said it in the season 2 recap, or maybe the episode where he died, where we were like, I just wish there was, like, one more little thing.
Bit more.
And I do think this is that satisfying thing.
I think so, too.
It really wraps up the story and gives, like, a good last perspective of Mason.
Yeah.
As a good guy.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Same.
But, of course, we've got to check in on Bonnie and Caroline, the mission to find the necklace. Bonnie and Caroline are driving along down, like, near the town square-ish. I don't know. It looks like they're kind of central. When they see in front of them on the road, a car has crashed into a tree. And Caroline realizes that it's Mrs. Lockwood's car and that she's, like, unconscious in the driver's seat. He's clearly just had an accident. And so Bonnie slams on the brakes, and we see right in front of them is Frederick standing in the road heading for Carol, along with multiple other tomb vampires who are all, like, circling in on Carol. I guess they're going to pull her out and eat her. I don't know what they're going to do.
No idea. Getting her into a car accident isn't enough. I don't know.
No, it's not. So they got to kill her, string her up, too. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
So they're doing whatever they're going to do. And so Caroline tells Bonnie, like, Bonnie, I'm going to get out of the car. You're going to get out of here.
Go.
And, you know, you're going to, like, destroy that necklace. And, like, clearly everyone has to deal with their boyfriend drama now, which I think Caroline brings up again, where it's like, you know, Bonnie's got to get rid of Anna. Elena is dealing with Stefan and Lexi. And Caroline's like, now I need to save the mother of mine. Her boyfriend, obviously. So Caroline gets out to go start beating up the two vampires and save Carol's life. And Bonnie speeds off to go get rid of the ghosts.
This was nice. I like that Caroline gets her little, like,
moment
to fight, like, multiple vampires.
I know. I love the scene later when it cuts to her, like, fighting them. I think it's, like, a great visual, too. So, fun one. But, of course, Anna and Jeremy.
Oh, my God. These two. Jeremy is telling Anna, like, this spell won't break her foothold. Like, we'll still be able to see each other.
Goodbye.
It doesn't have to be goodbye. And Anna's like, true, but it should be. Like, Elena is right. And then Anna apologizes for taking the necklace, and she starts crying. And she starts to say that, like, with all of the tomb vampires back, she thought, and Jeremy realizes in this moment, like, she thought she would see Pearl, her mother. And Anna says, like, she doesn't know where Pearl is, or if she moved on, or found peace, or if there even is peace. And Jeremy tells her that, like, there is peace. There has to be. Like, obviously, like, it's something you want to believe in. It has to be true. And Anna tells him that she just doesn't want to be alone anymore. And they hug. And she cries, but gives him the necklace back.
Yeah.
This is the scene that really redeems it for me for Anna. I'm like,
I know.
I like forgot this whole little Pearl bit of it all, and this redeems it for me. I'm like, I totally understand. Like, she doesn't even know like what happened to her mother, who she fought so hard to get back. 140 or 60 years, whatever.
I know.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
I totally agree. It's hard, the cheating aspect of it all. She did not need to do any of that.
Not necessary, but
the stealing the necklace and generally just trying to be around and get involved, like being completely alone on the other side is terrible. Awful. And she's probably been like that for what, like 6-7 months. I don't know how long it's been since Founders Day, but like, you know, a significant amount of time. Yeah. And then yes, the wanting her mother back is such a crazy thing. That's the person that she really has unfinished business with. That's the person she really wants to be reunited with. So it's just tragic to see it all happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she gives Jeremy the necklace back, and he slowly steps away, and you can tell he's like not sure he wants to do it because like obviously it's so emotional for her and he loves her. He doesn't want to leave her, but it's he has to do this. He has to go to Bonnie and give her the necklace.
We can't just let the founding families die.
Kill people.
Yeah.
Jeremy will get. He's on the list.
He's on the list. That's true. It's self-preservation at this point.
Yeah. But we go back to, speaking of self-preservation, we go back to the city jail, the Forbes cellar. Lexi is taunting Stefan. And Elena comes back in saying that they're running out of time, that, you know, they have the necklace, they're going to get rid of the ghost. And Lexi then realizes, like, oh, the necklace, like, that's, like, this emotional thing for Stefan. And she starts telling him, you know, like, you found this necklace in your darkest time. Like, that was the necklace that you said represented hope that would, like, get you through. And, you know, she's trying to, like, appeal to him with the necklace as, like, an emotional trigger. And he goes, ironic, then, that it's about to be blown to pieces. Which I was like, yeah, he got her. He got her with that one. That was a bad analogy in this specific scenario. That was not like the smoothest thing.
Okay, but it's not, because it is not blown to bits.
That's true. It doesn't work. It never dies, actually. So it is the perfect analogy for this scenario. But it's just funny.
Also, I love that he just assumes it's going to be blown to bits.
Yeah, that's just what he's picturing.
Yeah, but I love this. I love this necklace lore. I love adding to that.
I know, I do too. Yeah, like the fact that Lexi knew about it and all of that. So, yeah, it is fun.
Yeah. Having some fun still themselves. Damon and Mason are still walking through these caves. How far they've walked at this point, I don't know. But Damon, like, is walking along and he hits, like, an invisible barrier, but Mason keeps walking through. And Damon tells Mason that it's like he hasn't been invited in. Like, he can't go through it.
Yeah.
And he tries to tell Mason to wait, but Mason's like, I'm not stopping. Like, I'll let you know what I find.
Yeah.
You'll just have to trust me.
Yeah, classic.
Again, playing into this whole, Damon really does have trust issues.
Speaking of someone who's about to have trust issues because of what's currently happening.
Yeah, honestly.
Poor Bonbon. At the old witch house, Jeremy finally shows up with the necklace for Bonnie, who angrily just takes it, throws it in the fire, and starts the spell. Like, I think he kind of tries to talk to her, and she's like, stop.
She's like, no.
This is not, like, I have to focus on this right now. And we see Grams appear next to Bonnie, and she holds her hand and, you know, is helping her cast the spell. And we see, like, the necklace is burning in the fire.
Yeah, it's, like, melting.
You know, clearly they're starting to get rid of the ghosts. And just as we saw before of the montage of all the ghosts disappearing, this is now the montage of all the ghosts disappearing. First, we see in the road where Caroline is, like, fighting with the tomb vampires. We see Carol is, like, waking up in the car, and Frederick is clutching at Caroline's neck, but then suddenly he just like disappears, and Caroline kind of stumbles forward and just like looks around. They're gone. And then we see in the caves, Mason is looking around the walls. He looks amazed, and he kind of is like starting to tell Damon, who's like asking him what he's seeing, like what it is. And then he disappears, and we hear the lantern crash to the ground. And then of course we go to the city jail in the Forbes cellar, where Lexi looks at Elena, like clearly she knows it's about to happen, and so she says to Elena, he's still in there, Elena. You have to break through. And Elena says, it's so cute. She says, it's okay, Lexi. I know what to do now. You can. We're both starting to tear up. I didn't even think of this as emotional in the moment, but I'm starting to tear up now. She says, you can be free. And Lexi smiles and looks at Stefan and disappears too. So sad.
I know.
I don't know why this is getting both of us so bad right now, but of course this next one is about to also get us.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, I was tearing up when we had this on earlier. I was like,
I know, I can't watch this one. I was sobbing watching it.
I know. I started tearing up with the Mason one. I was like, Mason just something about...
I love Mason.
I love him so much.
The next one is the one that gets me, though, of course, which is... in the town square, Anna's just like wandering aimlessly, all of the beautiful lanterns everywhere, and it's dark, it's night, when suddenly she sees her mother in the street in front of her, and they like both run to each other, and they're hugging, and they're crying, and they look so happy, and they both just disappear together.
Yeah.
We're both crying.
They're about to spill.
I know, I'm trying to keep it in.
Yeah.
But it's so precious. Like, I think the implication is that they found peace together. That's what we want to believe.
So too.
Obviously,
I know.
I have to believe that they found peace together. Because I do think that was their unfinished business. You know, Anna's whole goal for 140 years, like you said, was to find her mother.
Literally just to find her, yeah.
That was the unfinished business, I think. So,
yeah.
I want to cry still, so I'm like, I can't say anymore. I will keep crying.
There's no need to say anymore, but I will just say, just generally, like, I feel... like this episode, while there are some inconsistencies with the other side, I'm like, perfect closure for Mason, Anna, Pearl.
Yeah.
Like, I just love it. I think it's so well executed.
It is
like,
so well executed.
It's a risk, I think, to do like a ghost plot line.
Oh, totally.
And to just bring back a bunch of characters like this, but it was just perfect.
They chose the perfect ones to like be able to close stories on. It was all like characters who gotten killed very dramatically, which is usually how it goes in the show. But you know, people who really didn't get goodbyes, because then also the last one actually is in the old witch house, of course, as we see the necklace like melting. Grams turns to Bonnie and says, I'm gonna cry again. She says, "You're stronger than all of this. I'm so proud of you." And Bonnie is crying now. We see her completely tearing up. And Grams also just disappears. And we see Bonnie's, like, empty hands now. So it's just continually so emotional. I know. And again, Grams is another one on that list. Grams, Anna, Mason, Lexi. They all die and just, like, Damon killed half of them. Yeah. They all But they all die in quick, drastic circumstances where there's no closure, there's no goodbye, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
So it is really nice to open those stories back up and give them a nice, proper goodbye and an ending and an emotional ending. And and that's it for a lot of them.
Yeah. But we will see a few of them again.
Yes.
But anyway, taking care of this whole, like, cave situation, Damon is obviously still in these caves, wondering what's beyond this invisible barrier.
They can't get through.
Yeah. And Alaric arrives and is like, didn't you have anyone else to call?
Yeah.
And David is like, actually, no, because I need a non-vampire to get into the cave. And other than Elena, you're the only one I trust.
I love that the implication is the fact that Damon doesn't have non-vampire friends. Name one vampire Damon would have called. I'm like, those are his only two friends. It has nothing to do with non-vampire.
I know. I was like, maybe Caroline. Maybe. But, and then, the little call to, like, the one he trusts.
Yeah, I do like that.
And Alaric is like, well, you have a crappy way of showing that. And Damon asks him to, like, cut him some slack. Come on.
Yeah.
But Alaric is like, I shouldn't have to cut you slack. You shouldn't have killed me.
Yeah, we're friends.
Yeah, we are friends. Like, friends don't kill friends.
Yeah, they usually don't.
Yeah. And Damon is like, well, sometimes I do things I don't need to do.
Verbatim what he said to Mason.
Literally what he said to Mason. And Alaric does smile, and he's like, really? You're going to recycle the same crap-ass apology that you gave to Mason? And Damon is like, he pauses for a beat, and he's like, he kind of coyly is like, yeah, well, I didn't mean it with him. I was like, they're so boyfriend. They're so back.
So I love them. I love the smirk that Damon gives to Alaric.
I know.
Just like, you love me. We're besties.
Yeah, I didn't mean it with him. You're my one and only baby.
Yeah, you're the only one that gets the real apology of, I do things I don't have to do.
I hope Mason was, like, still on the other side watching.
He was like, just like, what the fuck?
Like, fuck you.
Yeah, I bet he was.
He's like, the next time I come back, I want revenge.
Yeah, it's on site.
But anyway, Alaric then, like, they have, like, a moment. They smile, and Alaric turns on his flashlight to go look into the caves.
Yeah. So setting up, he's going to do this now.
Yeah.
Not only for him, but it is, like, an important discovery for all of them.
Yeah.
So he's going to...
For all of history.
For all of history, for real. So he's going to go check it out. But, of course, we've got some more emotional, like, lines to draw here of... Stefan, of course, is still chained up, covered in blood and sweat, and he asks Elena, like, what she's gonna do. Like, she's just gonna wait for him to dry out. And Elena says she's gonna go home, she's gonna take care of her brother, she's gonna be a good friend to Bonnie, and she, like, starts to leave to, like, go do that. And Stefan, like, calls her out and, like, stops her, and he's taunting to her about how she's giving up.
Yeah.
And, like, after what he saw from Lexi, that was a glimpse of the tragic future ahead, and, like, she doesn't want any part of it anymore. And Elena turns around and says, like, I haven't given up. I still have hope. And she walks up to him, and she says, like, he just needs to, like, work together. Like,
he also needs to have hope.
Yes, he also needs to have hope. He needs to fight. He needs to feel something, anything.
Yes.
She, like, is touching his face at this point, really trying to, like, appeal to him. And she says, because if you don't, you're going to lose me forever. I won't love a ghost for the rest of my life. And then she leaves.
Perfect.
Yeah. A perfect callback to, like, I feel like as an older sibling, I relate to this. Sometimes teaching your sibling something, it's easier to see someone else's story than your own.
Absolutely.
And when you teach something to somebody else, you're like, oh, shoot, I'm doing the same exact thing. And I thought that during the Jeremy scene, too. I was like, this is so, like, Elena's not hearing herself here. But, of course, by the end of it, she has.
She does.
She is like, wait a second. The exact same thing I'm preaching to Jeremy not to do is exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Unless I change something. But again, this is another one of those scenes that are really interesting with, like, the humanity of it all of Stefan, because even though he is, you know, no humanity, and it doesn't really look like he has emotion, it does feel like it lands. It feels like this scene kind of hits him that he could lose her for real.
Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking this, like, this whole episode. I meant to mention it sooner, but I was thinking, like, how is just seeing Lexi alone not enough?
How would seeing Lexi not just, like, turn it right back on immediately?
Yes, and then for her to disappear and, like, you have to wasted the whole day being a dick to her.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like that. I feel like if it's not already creeping, how could that not really be pushing?
Yeah.
And, like, really starting that internal struggle.
No, that's exactly what I was saying earlier about how, you know, Stefan is this, like, person that with his humanity off is a great example of how it is still off. It's definitely off.
Of course.
But you can see those glimmers of how even when it's off, it is fighting back on always. For sure. It's very good. Paul's very good at acting like that, and the writers are very good at working that in too.
Yeah.
Somebody who probably wishes they could turn their humanity off to go into the next scene.
Oh my God. Yeah, honestly. Obviously, we still have the Bonnie Jeremy. That boyfriend drama is not resolved.
Yeah.
Bonnie is now, like, crying, looking at the fireplace. Obviously, horrible, stressful, emotional day.
Yeah.
And Jeremy does kind of, like, make to comfort her, and he tries to talk to her, but she tells him to go away. And Jeremy's like, no, I owe you an explanation. She flips it around on him. She's like, Matt let go of his sister before you let go of Anna, his sister. Yeah. Jeremy, come on. You know what you owe me? The respect of not making me listen to you explain yourself.
Oh, snap, snap, snaps. That is iconic. God.
Yeah, that is iconic. I was like, good. She deserves so much more. I hope she dumps his ass after this.
Yeah. The respect of not making me listen to you explain yourself is brilliant. I was like, that's so true. She doesn't need to listen to him explain himself. There's no excuse. You're in love with Anna.
Explanation.
There's no explanation. You're in love with Anna and you kissed her, and now that she's dead again, you want me back. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the worst for all of this, and Bonnie's so real for calling him out on it. It's Absolutely. So fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she's pretty much done after that. She said her piece, and so she's like, just go, Jeremy. Just leave.
Come on.
And he listens. He just walks out, which I feel like is always proof too, where it's like, you're not going to fight for her? You're just going to leave?
Come on. Like, as justified as she is, like, really?
Yeah, really. Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, so he walks out, leaving Bonnie. Like, she takes this, like, heavy breath before all of a sudden the fire explodes, and she gets closer to it to, like, examine, and she sees in the middle of the fire the necklace that had melted earlier is now perfectly intact.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yeah, not great.
Not good.
We'll see. I mean, it solved the ghost problem, but
yeah, clearly the issue, I think that's, like, a good sign that, like, the ghost problem of this episode resolved. The larger evil witch problem not resolved. And the necklace will be a huge piece of the next one. So we'll be talking about that necklace at
forever.
Length forever. But at length in the next one for sure. But obviously the other setup of what's going to kickstart the next one is what they discover in the caves.
Yeah, Alaric, like, starts to move into where Mason was before, and he starts looking around the room, also amazed, just like Mason was. And Damon is like, what? And Alaric is like, I found something. And Damon asks him, what is it? And we see there are a bunch of, like, runes on the wall. Like a bunch
cave
of little,
paintings.
Yeah, cave paintings, drawings. And Alaric is like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Which is just funny because in the next episode, he's
like, I decoded all of it.
He's like, actually, I know this whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
But yeah,
it is clearly like really old cave drawings that like obviously predate anything we've seen in Mystic Falls or in the show generally at this point. Yeah. So that will be a huge part of the next one, and the flashbacks to when those are drawn and when the originals are human, and so much to get into.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, before we get into that.
Yeah, before we get into that, we can wrap up this episode. First, let's hear from our voicemail host what you thought about this one.
Hey, it is me, Kendall. I saw your guys' story, and I had to comment on some of my favorite moments from this episode. I love all the outfits in this episode. I especially love Bonnie's and Elena's at the end. I also, whenever Anna and Jeremy are talking in the bathroom in the grill, can no one hear him talking to himself in the bathroom? Can nobody hear him? Also, for some reason, this episode reminds me a lot of the originals. Some moments from this episode reminds me of some things that have happened in the originals. And then just my basic overall thought from this episode is that I love Lexi so much. And I don't think they ever do this again. But why do they never do the vampire drying out thing that she does? Can nobody else do it except her, even though it's just like hallucination? I don't know. They never do it again that I can think of. Why do they keep having founder celebrations if someone always dies at one? They keep doing them and somebody always dies. Also, I just feel so bad for Mason. I feel so bad for him. But I love that he like wants redemption and he forgave Damon. And then I feel like a quote that Elena says kind of sums up a lot of the Vampire Diaries, where she says that she won't love a ghost for the rest of her life. And I just thought that quote was like so beautiful. And those are just some of my thoughts that I wrote down. My overall thought is that I just love Lexi so much. I love her. Those are my thoughts. Bye.
Thanks to our voicemail host. Now, to wrap up this episode, for deaths, I think we just have Tobias Fell killed by Frederick and
the
tomb vampires generally, maybe.
Yeah, I can't believe the tomb vampires are sneaking in a kill in season 3. You're like, okay.
I know. I was like, I thought we were so far past this, but here we are.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy, our out of pocket or would have done differently. I know it's too serious, but the only thing I could think of was Jeremy kissing Anna. Like, how, like, everything about Jeremy in this episode, I know it's too far to even be out of pocket, but I was like, how could it not be him? How could he do that to Bonnie?
I know. Everything in this episode felt way too serious.
Yeah.
The other thoughts I had was like, maybe Stefan, for him switching up.
That's true.
Like he does. Like he literally goes from I love you so much to I wish I never met you.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He is crazy. And then I also was like, the writers were a little out of pocket for their little tomb vampire insert.
Oh yeah, that's funny. I like it though.
I know, I love it. So I'm like, it doesn't really count. But I don't know. It feels so serious.
It feels so serious. I don't know. I still think Jeremy just generally for being,
Jeremy is the
if
most
not
outrageous.
out of pocket, would have done differently.
Oh
Jeremy's
my God.
insane.
Yes. Oh, I think, yes. Let's go Jeremy because I definitely could see what I would have done differently.
Yeah.
100%.
Crazy.
Easy.
So Jeremy wins for being the worst.
Yeah. For quotes, we definitely already said both of my quotes. Again, a lot of good dialogue. I don't really... Actually, I think I do have a winner, so I'll give my honorable mention. For honorable mention, I wanted to give a little shout out to Mason for his line, I don't need revenge, I need redemption.
That was my winner. I love that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need revenge, Damon, I need redemption. It's so, like, it's
I
like,
love him.
I don't want to say we get bad dialogue in TBD because we don't. We get great dialogue, but I'm like, that line feels like bigger than TBD in a way.
Yeah, I can see that.
Very poetic. It feels very like old literature. I don't know. I was like, that is like brilliant line.
Yeah.
To just have in a random TBD episode.
That's true.
So I really like that one. I don't need revenge. I need redemption. Feels like it could be like Batman or something. I don't know.
I know. It feels like, it feels.
It's also cheesy in that way.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that. Yeah.
But I like it.
I do too. Yeah. Was that your only quote?
I had one other one. I think we brushed past this one. Actually, you didn't even say it. It was when Damon went up to Bonnie and Caroline at the start of the episode in his car.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, when I kill someone, they're supposed to stay dead. I thought that was just funny. I'm like, That is usually how it works.
Yeah, that's true. He's right. Yeah.
But what was your winner?
My winner was, and mostly because I was like, finally, she gets a good moment. It was when Bonnie said, you know what you owe me, the respect of not making me listen to you explain yourself.
That's a good one.
Because I was just like, finally, Bonnie gets a little bit of like her own power and like telling Jeremy off after this nonsense.
I do like that one.
I feel like we got to go with Mason. It's
we both said
objectively,
it too.
Yeah, we both said it. It's the objectively like better line. I just like the moment.
I know. I like
Bonnie.
the Bonnie moment. I would want to honor her in that way. But it also is such a reminder of things I hate that I'm like, I don't even want to.
That's true.
But this one, Mason will never get a Mason one again.
That's true. Our last chance at Mason.
So we'll go, I don't need revenge, Damon. I need redemption.
Love that.
Mason. Love that. So, bringing us to our last category, song of the episode, the best song in the episode. I had 3 songs. I felt like there was like a good mixture here of like fun ones and serious ones. So, I had a few.
Yeah, I had 2. So, you give your honorable mention.
I'll give one. One of my honorable mentions was This Woman's Work by Greg Laswell. That was when Anna and Pearl are reunited, and I thought it was just a good emotional song. I really liked that one. I debated doing it as a winner kind of, but I wasn't sure where I wanted to land.
I know. I mean, I think I had a clear winner, but I don't know. I did like the other song I had as an honorable mention, which my honorable mention was In Front of You by The Quiet Kind.
That was my other one, yeah.
Yeah, it plays when Elena is talking to Stefan right at the end, of course.
Yeah,
like the sentimental song.
And,
And the lyrics fit well. It's like, why can't you see what's right in front of you? Like, yeah, it just works well.
Yeah, those were both the 2 like emotional songs towards the end, and I thought both of those were very worthy of a honorable mention at least, because I liked both of them. But I had a feeling we were both going to choose the same winner because we always choose this artist when they appear.
Of course.
Classic.
Yeah, I love this song a lot.
Yeah.
It is obviously changing by the Airborne Toxic event. It plays at the start of the episode.
Yeah, the Night of Illumination like, intro scene.
Yeah, the setup for it.
Yeah.
I just love the Airborne Toxic event.
I think we might have gotten every song off of this album at this point.
At this point, yeah. They bought the rights to this whole song. Yeah.
I was going to say.
this whole album.
Yeah, this whole album. I was going to say this might be like the 3rd or 4th song off this album that we've made a winner already, which is really funny.
Probably.
Anyway, so if you haven't listened to it, we'll be adding Changing by the Airborne Toxic event to our best song of the episode playlist, where we have all of the winners of best song from season 1, season 2, and now 7 episodes into season 3. We also have a playlist with all of the winners and honorable mentions just for season 3. You can find both of those playlists linked in our various bios and descriptions. Also, you'll find there our Instagram and our TikTok, where we're always posting fun clips, I don't know, fun memes, polls, whatever. I don't know, all sorts of stuff for you to interact and get involved and, join the community of the podcast. So meet us there.
Yeah, and listen to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and watch the video version on YouTube if you're not already doing that. Yeah, and join us next week for season 3, episode 8, Ordinary People.
Originals flashback. Yeah.
I love a good like outlier flashback, like not just in 1864. This is a fun one.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Thank you for watching and or listening to this one. Bye.